everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Vale and I make vlogs about sewing and about living abroad in Colombia, and today we are going to be walking through everything that I've made so far in 2026. So all of the garments that I've made in the last 7-ish months. I've actually been on a little bit of a sewing kick. When I was kind of putting these out, I was like, wait, this doesn't look like that much, but it is a lot. Okay, there have been a lot of different garments that I've made, a lot of different styles. I feel like I've really pushed myself these last few months to up my game with sewing. So I'm going to be sharing all of those things with you. Any patterns that I used, the fabric choices I made, and also just like the extent to which these pieces have actually made their way into my wardrobe as I think about what I want to make next. So very much looking forward to sharing these pieces with you. Let me know what you think, and let's get started. Okay, we are starting off in January with my look for the Bad Bunny concert. So this was a look that was inspired by something I saw on Pinterest, which was this white dress that had like all of these flowers all around. I knew I had a thick white cotton in my stash. I knew I could make it work because I could make a very basic bodice block and a very basic skirt, and the flowers would really do the talking. I loved how this turned out. I made this again in a very thick, heavyweight cotton. And I also found these flowers from just like somebody who sells like these pre-made sort of forever flowers. They're supposed to be for like Valentine's Day and things like that. My cousin helped me find them, but we just like cut them up and put them on the dress. So I was hand sewing this on my way to the concert. So I had to we were flying to Medellin, my friends came, everything. And I was like hand sewing on the flight because like I got them so last minute and I already had the bodice kind of done and the skirt kind of done. But I was just kind of like very last minute on this one. I loved how it turned out. I got so many compliments the day of the show. People were like, oh my God, your look is so unique. I loved it. However, it did not make the wash. So I don't have a version of it to show you that has the flowers. I do have a video of what it looked like once it went in the wash. It accidentally went in the wash. It wasn't supposed to go in the wash, but it was just a chaotic time. We kind of just threw everything in there and it did not look great afterwards. It was actually shredded and destroyed. However, I really love the base. Again, I made this with a block of mine. So you can go online and find like, put in your measurements and get like a block, a basic block. This is a very basic princess seam block. So I used that and I added these little straps because I knew that that's where I was going to put the flowers. And the skirt is just a simple tiered skirt. So the actual outfit is super easy to make. It was really the flowers that made it special. So now I'm kind of in this space where I don't really wear this because it's so basic in a way. Also, the little straps like just don't really look right. They don't really make sense without the flowers. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the little straps, I think, and I'm going to dye this because if I dye this a different color, like maybe like a burgundy or a green or something, I think it would get a lot more use because the color is just a little more accessible. I think white just always reads just very bridal unless it's kind of a specific event. So that's where we started this year. Overall, I was very happy with this look. It's just sort of like, now what do I do with it, right? The next thing that I made was a Clara dress in a purple checkered fabric. So if you don't know, the Clara dress is by Silver Saga Patterns. It is such a great pattern. I love it. I'm actually wearing a version of the top. We'll talk about this one. This is a cotton polyester blend. I don't really know what it is. It's been in my stash for so long. I know it's partly cotton. I don't know if it's partly cotton. That's what they told me, I think, when I bought it. But I also think it must be polyester of some sort of like acrylic something because it doesn't wrinkle. It, you know, if it was cotton or full linen, it would wrinkle. I wear this every single week, and part of the reason that I wear it every single week is that it doesn't really need an iron, and I love that, right? It's like, oh, I just need to pull a dress out and quickly put it on and get on my calls. This is the perfect dress for that. I also live in warmer weather, so it's just like the perfect temperature for that kind of dress. I love it. I don't know what to say. I immediately made another one. So that takes us into the next garment that I made, which was the Clara Dress mini, again, in a burgundy fabric. Now, this fabric choice was perfect for what I wanted it for, which was like I was going to New York and it was spring, but it was still a little cold. I knew I was going to wear tights. I wanted a short mini dress that still felt thick and like a little substantial, but also could be layered with tights, etc., right? It worked perfectly for that purpose. it doesn't necessarily work super perfectly for my current weather pattern because it's a little warm. Like it is. I've tried wearing it around here. I love how it fits. However, it is a little thicker than I want it, that I can use here. However, I do use it in Bogota. When I'm in Bogota and it's more like fall weather, I wear that one a lot. So I do think that there is merit to it. Like I do wear it from time to time. I don't necessarily reach for it all the time here. I do like it though. I will keep it. I think it has a good purpose, like especially when I'm traveling to places in the US that are a little bit colder as fall starts. There is going to be a place for this in my wardrobe, I think. Next, I made a polka dot dress, and this is a picnic set dress. So if you know the picnic set by Kate and Naughton, that is a dress that comes with a pair of bloomers, and it's like a very, very short dress. So I made that exact dress in my size, no modifications, in a polka dot kind of like polyester blend fabric. I'm not really sure what this fabric is. It like lays and flows pretty easily. It's definitely not a natural fabric, but I love the pattern and I wear this so much as well. I wear it as a mini dress, like when I'm in warmer weather, like Miami, I wear it as a mini dress, super cute with like tall boots. I also layer this piece a lot. I'll wear it over jeans or I'll wear it with like what I consider my work sweatpant outfit, which is just basically a pair of lane pants and this top because it's so comfy and so relaxed, but it's still, because of the fabric gives you a little bit more of an elevated look. So I really, really get a lot of use out of this. I did make this pattern again, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Again, this is a great Zoom call type of top because it's just like the sleeves. It's just cute. I love this top. Next, I made a dress for the Mana concert, okay? And I made this out of upholstery fabric that had been sitting in my stash for years because I was going to make some pillows. Anyway, so I made it out of upholstery fabric, which was definitely an interesting choice. I made a modified version of the look that I made for Bad Bunny. So it was the same like princess seam top with the same kind of basic tiered skirt. The only difference is instead of making those little white straps, I made a strap that went all the way around. So it could be an off the shoulder look moment. Obviously, as you can tell, I love an off the shoulder moment. I did also attach the skirt. So the skirt for Bad Bunny is like a separate piece. For this one, I just attached it to a dress. It's like a mini dress. It is super cute. It's actually in Miami. I left it in Miami because I do want something there. I go there quite a lot because I fly there and then I fly out for other things for work. And I did want something that could be like kind of dressy for when my mom and I go out to restaurants, etc. So I felt like that was a really good one because even though Miami's very hot, like it is a mini dress and the way that it just kind of lays and flares out, it's adorable. So I left it there. My mom is moving back next year. I'm sure she'll bring it back to me. Okay, let's move on to the next look. Okay, then I got hyper fixated on this dress that I bought from Siksta. Siksta is a beautiful, beautiful Colombian brand. I think recently they've actually been found in Nuuly boxes. So if you do Nuuly and you've seen those sort of like rainbow pants, that's Siksta. So Siksta is like, they're becoming well known, okay? I love them. I'm obsessed with them. They're actually one of the only places I still shop because obviously I make my own clothes, so I don't really need to shop that much, but I will still go in there. Mostly because every time I buy something from them, I learn something construction wise. So they are doing some really beautiful professional finishes on sleeves. They're doing like really cool patterns. Like nothing there feels fast fashion because it's not, right? It's like slow Colombian fashion, but also they're taking risks with their silhouettes and things like that. And so this is kind of where this happened. There was this dress at Siksta that they called el huevito, like huevito dress, because it looks kind of like it's a barrel kind of dress. It looks like a little egg. And at first I was like, oh, I'm going to hate this because it's very voluminous. And I'm like, I'm a thicker girl. Like you want something that's a little more hugged to the body. Like you don't want to be like swimming in something. But I went to the store and I tried it on and I was like, this is the most amazing dress I've ever tried on because it's like kind of like sexy and like tight at the top, but it's also kind of balloony. I became obsessed. And so then I was like, I'm going to copy it. This is just for me. Okay. I'm not selling this. This is not for production. Like this is not for commercial use. This is like for me, okay? I took a piece of paper and I sketched it out just like you would, like you remember when you had those little coins in elementary school and you put a paper on top and you just like kind of scratched it out. I did that with the seams and I cut out the pattern and then I immediately made it twice. I made it in a burgundy cotton first because I wanted to test it and I didn't know what I was going to use that fabric for. I knew I needed to have a little body, but I also had this other fabric in mind. I just didn't want to cut into the good fabric until I gave it a little bit of a test shot, you know? So I made it in burgundy first. It's a burgundy cotton. It had a little body. I love this dress. I actually wore it all over Mexico, because it's just so easy. Again, it's like comfortable, but also kind of sexy. I loved it. So I made it in burgundy. And then immediately after, I made it in this canvas that I had purchased from an artist in Bogota. So in Bogota, there's this artist whose name is Verano Turbio, who does a lot of upcycling, just really cool designs on fabric, etc. And she was selling, no, she wasn't really selling. She had this fabric thing at her stand that she was using as advertisement, right? That she had stamped with like all of her designs. And it was a canvas sort of like 2 meters by 2 meters size square. And I was like, I need to buy that off you. Like immediately, please. And she sold it to me. So then I've been holding on to that fabric for like a year because I was like, it's too precious. I love her so much. Like, what am I going to do with it? So when I found this particular dress at Siksta and then I copied it, I was like, this is the perfect dress because it's got a lot of surface area. You know what I'm saying? It has a lot for like, you don't have to cut it too much. Like I'm not doing princess seams or darts or gathering or elastic. Like the actual dress itself doesn't get cut up much. And that's what I was looking for. I was looking for something where the actual fabric was doing the talking. Do you know what I'm saying? I wear this dress nonstop. I've worn it twice this week already. I can't say enough about how much I wear this dress. I'm going to be making another one. My sister and my mom also want one. So I'm going to have to like figure out because they have like smaller busts than me. But yes. Okay. If you have an opportunity to buy from Siksta, do it. I also found a pattern when I made a video about this on my channel. You can kind of see, and I found a pattern that's very similar. So if you want to give this a shot, I think I have an avenue for you to try it out. Let's get into the skirt sets, honey, because obviously I love a skirt set. I started with a blue set that was linen. It's like a bright blue set, right? I wear this one also all the time. I've worn it in several videos on my channel already. It has some polyester. I know it's like linen, but it's a linen blend because it does not wrinkle that much. If you know linen, you know. And this one does not wrinkle that much. So I wear it a lot and it's very like breezy. I love this composition of fabric. I'm going to be on the lookout. I don't necessarily love to buy fabrics that are not natural fibers, but there is a place for them in my wardrobe. I just also prefer to find like upcycled fabrics or things that I can use for things like that. But I'm on the lookout if I see it. This is a Saundra skirt by Sid Graham. The top is self-drafted. The Saundra skirt I absolutely love. I made a Saundra skirt set last summer. My sister also stole that one. So I just made it again in this blue one. I wore this all over Mexico. I wore it almost like every other day. It's just because, again, it wasn't wrinkling. It like was so comfortable. And also because there were so many, I was there for the World Cup and like there were so many teams that like had colors where I would be like, I'm wearing the Haitian colors today because we were with like our friends and who were, supporting Haiti. And then I would be like, oh, it's the Colombia game, but like I gave away my jersey. Like let me put on a yellow bandana and like red boots and I'm Colombia. So anyway, so I wear it a lot and I'm definitely going to make another one. So this is on my to sew immediately again list because it is so cute, so flattering and so many compliments on it. Okay. Moving on to the next skirt set that I made. And this was a blue and white skirt set that I made in a cotton eyelet fabric. For the top, I used the Clara top. It's not a top. I used the Clara dress as a top. So I just cut it like below the first elastic and I made it into a top. So I hacked the Clara dress pattern to make the top. And then I self-drafted the skirt. This is, again, a cotton. I love it. It's very breezy. I wear this very often. I also took it to Mexico. I wore it a lot. And then I immediately made it again. So the set that I'm wearing right now is exactly that. It is the Clara top that's been self-drafted and not self-drafted, that's been modified and adapted from the Clara Dress. And then the skirt is self-drafted because I just did a little tiered skirt with like a slit. I have a video on that if you're interested. But those are the main sets that I made this summer. I love a skirt set. I'll be making more. These get a ton of use. They're definitely workhorses in my wardrobe because you can also separate them. You could be like, I'm wearing the top with this, or I'm just wearing the skirt with this. And like, there's just a lot more flexibility. So I love. Next up, I made another picnic set dress. So it's just the dress part of the picnic set by Kate & Naughton. I made this in 100% cotton, like a very lightweight cotton. It is very see-through, but it's so soft and comfortable. It's like buttery, like it's just beautiful. So I do wear this as a pajama. I wear it as a pajama most of the time. However, I'm about to go to the beach and I will be wearing it as a cover-up. I wore it as a cover-up a couple times when I was in like Hawaii recently. So I do know it works. It dries really fast. And again, it's very see-through. So it's just kind of for one of those environments. I absolutely love this though, because again, it's just so soft. And like for a fabric like that was just sitting in my stash, but that was like really precious because it was very nice cotton. Just having something that is just comfortable, like and wear to sleep in like, especially when I go to the coast, I'm very happy with it. So that's the next thing that I made. I also made a white linen pleat top. So I loved the pleat top pattern, okay? I loved making the pattern. I loved making the top. I don't know that I should have made it in this particular linen because the thing just falls apart. Like it's like the pleat is in there. When the pleat is very ironed, it looks phenom. And then it'll just get wrinkly and then it just kind of falls apart and it just looks a little messy. So because of that, I haven't worn this top that much. I am going to try to make it in a different kind of fabric and then I can report back and see if it's like the fabric choice or maybe it's just the top because of where the pleats are located. Like they just don't hold. I'm thinking maybe I can also sew the pleats. I don't know. But I would say that is definitely one piece this year that I had a little bit of trouble with. Not in the making of it, okay? Very breezy, beautiful making of the top. Just not something that I like to wear because after 15 minutes, I look a mess. Okay, I also made the Juniper dress. I made this in a brown corduroy that had been sitting in my stash for a very long time because it looked kind of couch-like. I feel like when I finished that Juniper dress, I also felt that way. I was like, maybe it feels a little bit like I'm wearing a couch. However, since I made this dress, I have worn it a lot because it's so comfortable. It's just like a little zip and then your outfit looks more put together. Like I've been wearing a lot for work and for things like that. So even though at first I was like not super sure if I was going to wear this Juniper dress, I loved it in the end. And my sister actually wants it. And I'm like, gonna give it to her because it's not necessarily a color that looks great on me. But I definitely want to make it again in maybe a brighter color that like does something for my complexion because that brown does wash me out a little bit. Very comfy, brown corduroy, and have been wearing it a lot. Also, that was my first zipper. Hello. Pretty exciting stuff. Okay. And then we moved on to my first sort of organza adjacent, mesh adjacent dress, which is the dress I recently made for the Rosalia concert. It's an embroidered mesh, and I used the KS Garner pattern. Oh, also for the Juniper dress, that's by Tiana Herring. Okay, so the one I just talked about. Okay, so the Rosalia dress that I made was a KS Garner pattern. And that dress I'm obsessed with. I wore it for the concert, love, perfect for the theme. And then I also wore it one more time while my sister was here. And this week I have a party and I'll be wearing it again. Like, I love this dress. It looks expensive. Like, I think it's the fabric. I wasn't really sure about the fabric choice at first. Now I'm like, oh, it's giving very like Gucci. Like, you know what I'm saying? So obsessed with this dress. My sister also wants it, but she didn't have any room in her carry-on after she robbed me. So like, maybe she'll get this for Christmas. Until then, I will be wearing it nonstop. Okay, that takes us into the new blue summer dress that I recently made. I actually just finished it yesterday. And this was made with a cotton poplin. I self-drafted this based off a picture I saw on Pinterest. It was very easy. It's just an A-line kind of dress with a drawstring and a thick hem. So, pretty easy, pretty accessible. And I haven't worn it yet because, again, I just made it. However, I am going to the beach soon, and this is going to be a really cute beach cover-up for me, or like a little easy breezy dress for after the beach. Okay, so now let's talk about the list of things that I do not have in my possession, but I did make this year, okay? The first is I made a corset with a skirt, a corset set, if you will, using the Garden Stay pattern and using a velvet fabric that I upcycled from an old dress from ASOS. I never wore the dress. It was kind of like a skirt dress situation. And so I just upcycled that and I made the cutest corset and the cutest skirt. That is currently in New York with my sister. Robbed. Next, I made the lane pants that had a side stripe. I actually loved these. I went on like a work trip that was kind of like part adventure, part work trip. And I wore these almost every day because it was just easy to put on and like it was a little more elevated kind of pant. However, I lost them. I don't know what happened. I must have left them at the hotel or something. I couldn't find them. So between like when I left my work trip and when I went to Mexico City, I could not find the pants and I was like devastated. So I'm going to have to make those again. Maybe this time I'll also use like a thicker cotton. I really liked the pant that I bought because I was in very hot weather, but I think maybe I'll get more use out of them if they were just like a little bit thicker. So anyways, that happened. Unfortunately, I lost them. I made another pair of tropical lane pants. So it's like a pair of lane pants and like a tropical pattern. Those have also been stolen. And those I wore also a lot because that was like a cotton poplin that had a little bit of, again, synthetic in it. So it did not wrinkle. It was like a linen. It was a linen, like a linen blend. It did not wrinkle. Perfect for summer. Got a lot of use out of them. Now they have a new home where they're also going to be getting a lot of use. Next, I made a robe, an Italian linen robe. I'd been sitting on an Italian linen because I knew I wanted to make something for my mom. I just didn't know what. And I landed on a robe pattern. Initially, I was going to make it for myself. I was like, oh, I don't know what to make my mom. Maybe I'll just make myself a robe. And then I made the robe and it came out phenomenal. And I was like, well, obviously I'm going to give it to my mom. Like, come on, what am I, a monster? So I gave it to my mom. She loves it. Okay. She wears it every day. And it is beautiful. It's just light and it dries so quick, which my mom lives in Miami and it is so hot. So that is getting a lot of use in its new home. And lastly, I pimped out my Colombian jersey. So this is, I'm going to count this as sewing, okay? Because I had to do a lot of modifications. I took a jersey, like a men's jersey, and I made it hot, okay? And then I was in Mexico and we were at the World Cup and everybody was excited. Like we were at the opening game for Mexico. And so like I was wearing my Colombia shirt, you know, our friends were wearing the Haitian shirts. Like we were out here repping our countries. Okay. And then Mexico won. Okay. We were crying. It was just emotional. And so then I traded my shirt with a Mexican woman. We just like at the bar and just like took our shirts off and we like traded. It was a beautiful World Cup moment. And I no longer have that jersey. So that's okay. It was worth it. And I have a beautiful Mexican jersey, which I wear a lot as well because those are my girls. Okay. All right. That's really it. All right. That is everything that I have made so far in 2026. It was a lot. Okay. And a lot of those things I'm like, oh, it's a skirt set. That's 2 garments, honey. Okay. That's a top and a bottom. So I'm feeling pretty proud of myself. I also achieved all 3 of my goals. I got through my stash. I have 1 more fabric left. Don't freak out. I'm going to use it for my birthday dress. And then I put in a zipper. And I also definitely challenged myself. I feel like in the last few months, I'm on this sort of like high. I'm like learning so much. I'm trying so many different things. And I am just very much looking forward to what I make next. I think I mentioned this a few times, but I will be getting an industrial machine for my birthday, which is the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me. And I'm finally going to be able to make things like coats and like just things that are a little bit more complicated. So I'm also very much looking forward to what I will make in the next few months before the end of the year. If you have any fun patterns that you're considering or that, you know, you are inspired by, please share them. I've been having a hard time finding new exciting patterns, but I love using patterns. So please share anything that you have learned about that feels like, oh, this is cool and fun and cute and maybe challenging. And also, yeah. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.